Her keynote entitled Clarity, Coherence and Collaboration in Complexity will set the stage for our discussion today and guide us to embark on this journey on shaping a sustainable energy future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Puan Siti Safina Saleh to the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Bob, our MC for today, and also very much a feature in many of ST's events. Thank you. Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Madani, and a very good morning to all. First and foremost, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all participants to ST's first Energy Regulatory Insights Forum 2025. And I'm very happy that despite it being a Monday morning, I hope you're not down with the Monday blues, because I see a very good turnout, which is very rare in morning forums. Thank you very much for making it here. We are very honored to host this forum that brings together our valued stakeholders to share in the latest insights on energy regulations and exchange views in a series of constructive discourse that will shape the future of a sustainable energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by setting the context of our forum today with the role of regulation. Regulation is a key tool for achieving the economic, social, and environmental policy objectives of governments. There is not one single approach, but a broad range of regulatory mechanisms reflecting the diverse nature of the people, communities, and economy. For energy, the policy objectives are clear and, I believe, well understood. It is to ensure that energy consumers have access to reliable, affordable, and environmentally sustainable supply of energy, while ensuring public safety in the provision of energy. This is constitutionally enshrined in the three laws that ST is responsible for: the Energy Supply Act 1990, the Gas Supply Act 1993, and the recent Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act 2024. These policy objectives are also underscored in our national strategies, namely the National Energy Policy 2040, the National Energy Transition Roadmap, New Industrial Master Plan 2030, Natural Gas Roadmap, and Power Development Plans. While national strategies outline our priorities and goals, it is important to remember that Malaysia's energy sector does not exist in a vacuum. Thus, our strategies also need to adapt to evolving developments both globally and regionally, such as globalization, including tariffs, and industrial growth, ESG and climate goals, the state of energy geopolitics, market dynamics, competition for investment, and ASEAN energy integration. Nevertheless, our policies and strategies, coupled with technological progress, as well as favorable investment support, have altered the energy landscape at a rapid pace. Let me highlight some key statistics. For example, in 2010, if you look here, our power peak demand was about 15,072 megawatt. In 2016, it grew by about 2 gigawatt plus, and then another about 4 gigawatt by 2025, or most recently, this is our newest peak. And of course, I think if you look at the system profile, which is published by GSO on their website, our peak has also shifted from a day peak to a night peak. So those are the changing effects of the energy profile within our system. And now we project that this peak demand will also grow significantly in the next 5 years. If you look at gas price from our domestic supply mix, initially in 2010, it was 10 ringgit and 70 cents. It grew to 18.95 in 2016, and today It is almost at market parity, between 24 to 35, and in fact, it goes up to about 45 ringgit per MMBTU. And that's almost, as I mentioned, close to market parity. Next, we look at the number of gas suppliers. As enshrined in the Gas Supply Act, there has been a lot more competition within the industry. Whereas in 2010, there might be only 2 players. By 2025, there are more and growing. Next. And therefore, more insights will be shared by the ST team throughout the sessions today. Ladies and gentlemen, as the energy sector is rapidly evolving, the regulatory approach and mechanisms of the past for us are no longer relevant in charting the pathway to a different future. Centralized generation needs to coexist with decentralized generation. Dispatchable energy alongside non-dispatchable energy, increasing gas imports and exposure to global market dynamics, as well as ESG practitioners versus price-conscious consumers. Among others, technical standards, safety, economic, and market regulations need to consider a wider range of factors, including technologies with different energy installations at different premises. For example, waste to energy, biomass, battery energy storage of different types, lithium ion, sodium sulfur, nickel-based. I've got a whole gamut of different technologies here, and which requires continuous upgrade in the skills of competent persons. It also needs to consider the factors of system conditions, with increasing integration of variable, renewable and clean energy in different profiles, from variability of profile, time, climate risk, and each with its own unique impact. We need to consider consumers with segments that are no longer homogeneous, but a broad spectrum of distinctive consumption as well as production characteristics. And finally, the economics, whereby pricing using a simple socialized approach risks widening affordability, disparity, and inequity. The growing complexity of the energy landscape requires transformative regulations. Transformative regulations provide clarity and coherence, which is crucial to foster an effective energy transition driven by the energy industry and consumers. Transformative regulations, when done right, can spur efficient innovation and clean energy technologies without compromising energy security and shifting risks unfairly. Transformative regulations are forward-looking, not just reactive, but shaping, and requires agility as well as flexibility. This means regulations cannot always be too prescriptive. Rather, it is about consistency to regulatory principles and being clear on condition-based outcomes. Specifically, in the aspect of safety and stability, regulations will continue to prescribe the rules on what can or cannot be done. In other aspects, regulations will be designed based on several principles, including protecting the interests of consumers, promoting value-adding innovation and clean energy technologies, and ensuring a fair and level playing field for a competitive industry as a whole. Fellow participants, the role of the regulator is increasingly demanding in this era of energy complexity. Professor Malcolm Sparrow, an international expert on regulations, famously said that regulators today need to skillfully manage contradictory expectations. Be less intrusive, but more effective. Be kinder, but firm. Be quicker, but more careful. Deal with important issues, but stay within our authority. Be responsive to regulated entities, but not get captured by the industry. ST is committed to institute changes that balance these expectations and carry out the responsibility entrusted to us to serve energy consumers. Governance is a key institutional principle for ST. I would like to take this opportunity to share with all of you our commitment to good governance and integrity, including in energy procurements without fear or favor. First of all, ST is legally bound to foster a competitive energy market. Second, while ST may act independently, there are several layers of oversight. The ministries in charge of electricity and gas, the Ministry of Finance vis-à-vis compliance to statutory body and procurement rules, including the soon-to-be-enforced procurement bill, and the Auditor General, notwithstanding open investigation by other enforcement agencies. Third, our chairman and current commission members are highly experienced and committed to ensure a track record of strong governance, compliance to the law, and the Madani reform agenda. I hope this will lay to rest any doubts pertaining to the governance procedures within ST, whether in our recommendations or decisions. Valued stakeholders, we do not always have the answers or solutions to everything immediately. Achieving good regulatory outcomes is always a collaborative effort between the government, among regulators, regulated entities, and the broader stakeholder community. Among regulators, we often share findings and our practices, mindful that we operate under different political, social, and economic contexts, as well as different energy systems. Nevertheless, these learnings help us to identify signs of inflection points and proactively explore workable methods and solutions. Experiences of early adopters of renewable energy integration, regional interconnection development, competitive market models and design, tariff design structures, and even crisis, whether averted or not, such as the blackout in Spain and Portugal, all provide valuable insights and learnings. Within our own jurisdiction, we are honored to have collaborative partners that support ST independently and are aligned in common objectives. Special mention to the grid system operator and also the single buyer team, headed by engineer Shanmugan Topalan and engineer Zainuddin Mat Yusof, who are also secretariats to several important committees. I also gather that this is an auspicious time to publicly share a vision which I have personally advocated, which is the need for an independent Malaysia Electricity System Operator, or MISO, and an independent Malaysia Energy Market Operator, MIMO, and the importance of independence in regulated entities with natural monopolies. The continuous engagement with regulated entities and energy consumers is essential, as the energy sector stakeholder ecosystem is increasingly growing. ST aims to do the following. We aim to enhance the participation process to find a balance between effectiveness and efficiency. We aim to implement a more structured approach through consultative forums and platforms to discuss regulatory insights and bring in constructive views, an approach which is well established in developed markets and countries. We aim to explore service charters and also stakeholder engagement guidelines. And finally, we aim to improve and adopt principles of transparency and access to non-confidential information by publishing the key regulatory performance metrics, recommendations, and decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere hope that the Energy Regulatory Insights 2025 Forum is the beginning of an enhanced and productive collaboration with our valued stakeholders. I hope all participants of ERI 2025 will enjoy the insights and panel discussions and also actively join in the breakout dialogues this afternoon. Ahead of the proceedings, allow me to leave you with some food for thought from the World Resources Institute on the 6 conversations which are important in the energy transition. First is shifting from ideas to immediate action. Second, deliver an efficient, circular, upgraded new energy economy beyond just supply. Third, plan for the next 10 years, but get ready now. Fourth, count it. Fifth, avoid the pitfall of the techno-fix. And finally, sixth, put people at the center of the energy transition. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have productive sessions ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Puan Siti Safina Saleh, for your inspiring welcome remarks and keynote address.